Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends, and at long last, another in our series of I built them so you don't have to. And a little bit of a mix-up, a little bit of a change-up. It's going to be a free-to-play version. That is, I am on my free-to-play account to do this showcase for you. So without further ado, let's jump into Magnarr. Percussive Pound attacks all enemies. Places an extra hit on enemies without HP burn debuffs. Has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn on enemies under HP burn debuffs. Fan the Flames attacks 1 enemy, applies a debuff spread, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies under HP burn debuffs. Also increases the duration of HP burn debuffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Will not spread fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, or stun debuffs. Superheated Hammer attacks 1 enemy, has a 45 bookable to 65% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Has a 100% chance instead if this target is under an HP burn debuff. Flesh Melter passive heals this champion by 1% of their max HP every time anyone in the battle takes damage from an HP burn debuff. Alright, there you go. We started things off in a place I normally don't, which is the campaign. For most of my videos, I do it on my main account, where the campaign is more about tournament wins than it is about actually leveling champions. However, from a free-to-play perspective, it can still be one of the most important dungeons you head to, is of course the campaign, 12-3 Brutal. And while obviously I use my starter champion to do my farming, and 32 seconds isn't crazy, but for a free-to-play player, 32 seconds isn't a big deal. I wanted to show you that to show that Magnarr can do this. One of the things you have to do when you are a free-to-play player is sacrifice gear. You have to make decisions on where you're going to put your best gear and where you're going to put your second best gear. And Magnarr, if you're going to put him in the arena, if you're going to use him as your main nuker, he's going to need to be in your best gear, which may put out, at least for a small amount of time, your starter champion. Or perhaps you have your starter champion like Kale, and you're using him in the clan boss still, and you don't want to have to move him and make him faster, that sort of thing. So that was just to show you that unbooked. And by the way, I started him in 12-3 Brutal solo at level 40, 6-star level 40. He was able to level himself up solo, which means you can speed up the process because all 100% of the experience is going to him. He can do it very easily, actually, without any worry about him dying. So with that, just wanted to put that out there to let you know that this is a champion. If you're a low spend free to play and you're in the early game, this is a champion you can use for your campaign farmer. If you don't want to use, or if you're stealing gear or what have you from your starter champion, but you can still make him fast enough to work with your arena team and so forth. So let's jump on over now and let's take a look at how I built him out, the gear I used, and the masteries that I have him with. So here is my Magnarr. This is in all his glory, man. It is a different world when you're on free to play. But before we get into the specifics of his stats, the reason why I did this is twofold. Number one, I did have him on my main account. I decided to fuse the legendary, take the free legendary, even though she's going into the vault, because I knew that I actually was able to fuse him, and I worked really hard at doing it. But I was able to fuse him on my free-to-play account and get him on here, so I had him to do a video on, and I didn't have to make the decision of not going for the free legendary in order to make a video on a champion that I think is very game-changing for a lot of people who are able to pick him up. But for those of you who are free to play, did pick him up, but are sitting on him right now because you're not sure what to do, you saw him, like I said, You can use them in your campaign. So until you farm more gear to get back onto your main, your starter champion or what have you, this is a champion you can substitute in there. Not the fastest, but not the slowest either. He's serviceable in the faction, or sorry, in the campaign. And the reason why I'd wanted to do this from a free-to-play perspective is because I think a lot of people do have him and may be thinking, oh, is this the next champion I should build, or is there a better champion? I'm telling you right now, this is potentially a game-changing champion. You've seen what he can do in endgame gear. I think Murder did a video. I'm sure Stu did a video. I'm sure they all did a video. But this is where he is from a starter point of view. And let's just take a look at his stats. He's sitting at 61,000 HP, 174 speed, 219 crit damage, 123 accuracy. Now, I do have an accuracy banner, but I have not spent money on it because it doesn't have speed. So I don't want to take it any further right now. The big thing was, I would rather actually have him in HP banner, but I don't have one right now for Demon Spawn. And I think for me, based on his skill set, which we can talk about briefly here, this here will increase the duration of HP burn and debuff spread if they have an HP burn. Well, that is so conditional. I have one HP burn champion, two now, three now, right? I have Crypt King Grawl, which is a random 3 times. I have Ninja, which is random 3 times. And I have Coffin Smasher, which is a low chance, or semi-low chance, single target. So this really doesn't help me. So I don't really care whether or not I get the accuracies. Number 2, don't really care about landing the stun if there's an HP burn for the same reason. So the only thing that I'm losing out on, as you can see, I don't have books in him really right now. So we're losing the chance to put this decreased defense. And then again, if it's an HP burn debuff. This is a nice add-on depending on how you're using them, but for where I'm using them, this isn't important to me. So I've decided, and I will as soon as I get the opportunity, switch him out to an HP banner and get him even more HP, hopefully, to keep pushing his damage out. He's more important to me for damage. Maybe there's some of you that want it the other way, and that's fine. As far as masteries, well, like I've said on this channel for years now, if you can hit 220 without the Flawless Execution, go over to Helm Smasher. If you cannot, go to Flawless Execution. I, at this point, cannot, so I will switch him, of course, over to Helm Smasher. Once I can push his, if I can get his accuracy to about 240 like this, I'll drop this out, which is, of course, the 20%. I'll take it back down to 220 and go to Helm Smasher, and then we'll continue to try to grow it. But as it stands right now, we do what we have to do. This here, I mean, he does put a stun, sort of, so Leech might be a cool thing. But honestly, you can make arguments for stuff like healing the target. I know that this is a really good skill, Resurgent, in the arena. So if you wanted to go down that way to go to the Retribution, I think the biggest thing is that getting that Retribution. I like Improved Parry so much in the arena that I forego getting Resurgent. Now, I could forego Heart of Glory and go to Mighty Endurance and then down to Resurgent as well. Perfectly okay. There's options you can have. I'm just letting you know what I decided to do. So there he is in his build. There's his stats. Let's take him into, we'll take him into a Dragon 20 run. Even though I don't use him, or I use him in Dragon 20, he's weak affinity, so he's not the biggest deal there. But the fact is, because he's such high HP, he can actually be the target to some of the Magic Affinity champions, which helps protect some of the people around him so we can actually make it to the Dragon. So we'll do that run, and then we'll take him into the arena where, of course, this is the whole reason I built him out, was to have that arena nuker. So let's hit into the Dragon Dungeon next. So, running free-to-play is a very strange thing. And so you can see the team here. I've been very lucky. In the last 3 weeks, I have received more champions to progress my account than in the previous, ever since we started this, which has got to be a while. To the point where I thought I was going to actually restart my free-to-play with a new account. But then, of course, the Ninja event happened, and Ninja's absolutely amazing. I pulled Miscreated Monster finally, which was a godsend. Vizier, which ridiculous. And then, of course, Magnarr. So here's the team. Frozen Banshee is a carrier. She's being carried to the boss so that she can do the damage on the boss with her poisons. Defense down, obviously. We've got War Maiden here. Her whole purpose, get those up. She can do whatever she wants, to be honest here. We can do a little turn meter boost, right? Miscreated Monster doing what he's got to do. He's someone that I still got to work on. I just got books onto him to change his A2 to a 3 turn. So we really got to start building up his speed and overall team so that I can get through Spider. We're really close to Spider 20, but we just slightly fail. And I think it's just my speeds are a little bit slow. Hence why Dragon 20 is such a big deal to me. And of course, we have our Ninja. Ninja does okay on the waves, but again, he's all about the boss. And then, of course, we do this. Yeah, you're going to see the weak hits. Not a big deal. You are going to see a couple stuns because there are some HP burns going out there. We didn't land one here. He was already stunned, so it's kind of a weird thing. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get off the screen. We're going to just speed this up. We're going to get through, and then we're going to take it to where I'm sure you want to see him, and that's the arena. Look at how well Ninja at the very end just gets crazy, and you look at the damage. Ninja at 1.13, Frozen Banshee at 1.4. They do nothing in the waves, and then they jump in at the end. But Magnarr did his job. Him and Miscreated Monster's job was to get to the boss. They're not very effectual against the boss. I think if this is where Magnarr would shine, obviously, if it wasn't weak affinity and if you had kind of more mid to end game gear on him. But you can see we can still use him, and that's where you're going to use him in any dungeon that you need to clear the waves. He's going to be a wave clearing champion, so you'll be able to insert him into any team. Hopefully against Force Affinity, or at worst Spirit Affinity or Void Affinity, to help you clear waves. That's in Potion Dungeons, Dragon Dungeons, Doom Tower as well, where I use them all the time. But now it's time to take them into the arena where we use them, so let's just jump into that. Alright, here we are in the arena. I'm using a pretty standard team for me. It's a speed lead team. We're going to go with a debuff followed by double nuke. And we're going to do that because with my intricate knowledge of the game, because it's the champions I have. So debuff, now here he is. We're going to hit that A2, and even with the weak hits, we take out one. We've got three. Of course they all get those, which is fine, right? We're going to take out our boy here. Oh, she countered. You don't want my girl to counter. That's not going to do well for you. Right, 3 magic affinity, so not the best team to go up against. Look at all the magic. Okay, let's try this. All right. Again. Right, boom, lots of hits. You know, big shock. Duchess survives. Even in this level, even in the low world, Duchess is still a pain in the ass. That didn't change. Right, his A2 here, Fan Flames, hits fairly significantly hard. The debuff spread again. Doesn't matter, there's no one with HP on the field. So, now, I believe the spread will spread to people with HP burn, but the target doesn't need to be HP burn. So keep that in mind as well. You saw there, the target didn't have HP burn, but it still showed debuff spread. And if there were debuffs on that champion and there were other champions with HP burn, it would have spread. So kind of a neat way to go. Let's take it. we want to take on teams, like I'm not really worried about player power, but I want to take on teams that I think that I'm faster than. If I'm not faster than them, it's just going to get me into a whole world of trouble right now, obviously. But here you go. Boom. Zoom. Killed all of them except for this. Oh, fucking Swift Prairie Martyr. I don't know why people try so hard in gold. Like, this is low gold 3. 4 legendary champions. Slakes. Sit down. Let's keep going. Let's just kind of keep going. He's a hard hitter. Like, even at this level, when you see this, like, it's, you know, hey, he left the 2 champions that are Magic Affinity alive, and that's why I have a nice little Gala Longbraids belt, is she just cleans it up. Pretty easy. My final thoughts on Magnarr, no surprise, if this is a champion you were able to pull, especially free-to-play, low spend, early game, that sort of thing, do not hesitate to build this champion. He is going to be good for you in arenas. He's going to help you get through progression. Don't think him or Ninja. Think him and Ninja together. If you pulled them, I think Ninja's got to be done right away, if not already. But, you know, combined, they can really do some damage. He's got good speed. He's got great HP starting point. The crit damage at 50 is annoying, but overall, you've got an epic-based champion who's Spirit Affinity, who can hit really hard in the arena and help you wave progress. Keeping in mind that what you saw me use him for, I didn't have his cooldowns, right? So when you look at this item on a 4-turn, that is the big deal, is get that down to a 3-turn. I don't think this is a big deal. I don't think all the extra, in my opinion, forget the extra. Forget all this conditional. And if I were to say, hey, Plarium, you need to improve this champion, which I'm not sure I would say, but if I would say that, I would say get rid of the stupid conditional. Make him place an HP burn if he has enough accuracy, right? Maybe on his A2, places an HP burn with his first hit and stuns them if he lands HP with the first hit, stuns them with the second. Or if that's way too much, just place the HP burn, forget the stun or something to make, because HP burn is such a hard, trust for me who knows, who has to use a 50% chance, I think it is, booked, I think it might be 60% chance to land an HP burn. Then I have to spread the HP burn with a different affinity champion just to get through Spider. And guess what? Spider 20, Vizier is weak affinity, so I don't know how I'm going to run through Spider 20 other than burn a bunch of energy for the Arbiter missions. But I'm screwed for the Spider because I can't get an HP burn champion, right? Here he is. You can just remake him. But, I mean, that's probably being a little bit too greedy. As far as it is, just as a person building out this champion, my humble opinion is forget accuracy, go full HP, full crit damage, make him a nuker. Do not worry about it. If you have the luxury that you can get 100k without the HP banner, which potentially could be a triple roll HP percent plus the base, what is it, 6,000, 6,100 or something like that. If you can do that, then go ahead, put accuracy on him. But I think you'll find that you're just better off having more HP for more damage, and just build him out as your nuker for wave clearing, for Doom Tower, for Arena especially, and he will do work for you. He can hit hard. He can hit really hard. He's hitting pretty hard now, and I am only at about 50% capacity on this guy. His potential for a late game account is double what I'm showing you here. So definitely build him. Definitely use them if you kept them. I wouldn't begrudge you. I did it on my main. If you went for the Lego, it makes sense. It makes logical sense. But the hope is that you pull this champion. And when I pull it on my main, I'll build them on my main too. Because I find that nukers like that are always the most fun to build. So there it is. Those are my thoughts on them. What are your thoughts? Did you keep Magnarr or did you fuse the Queen of Hearts? I don't know what her name is. I can't remember her name. And if you did not fuse her, did you at least fuse him? And are you keeping him? Or if you built him out or use him in the vault, let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you for your patience, time, and effort getting this far in the video. And thank you very much. And be kind, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.